In 2015, Samsung released the Galaxy Note 5 for $700 to $800, and everyone was very impressed. Right now, you can buy a refurbished Note 5 for only $140. Is it worth it to buy this 4-year-old phone in 2019? Let's find out. In my opinion, any phone that costs less than $200 is a great deal. The Galaxy Note 5 does not disappoint. As I said, refurbished models are shipping for $150 on eBay and Amazon, and new models are shipping for only $200. That's a much better deal than the original $700 retail price. If you decide to purchase one though, make sure you get one that works on your carrier. Regarding the specs, this phone comes with 32GB to 64GB of storage. There's even a rare 128GB Winter Edition sold exclusively in South Korea. Regrettably, the Note 5 does not include a microSD card slot for expandable storage though. It does have a 5.7 Quad HD Super AMOLED screen with 2560 by 1440 resolution. The camera is 16 megapixels. There includes a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. The processor is the 14nm Exynos 742064-bit. It has a 4 GB of RAM. It has 2 ports, a micro USB port, and a headphone jack. You can fast charge over micro USB or wirelessly, and the battery is 3000 mAh capacity, but it isn't removable or replaceable. As far as size, the dimensions are 6 inches in height, 3 inches in width, and 0.3 inches in depth, and it weighs 171 grams or 6 ounces. For the screen, you'll get the beautiful 5.7 Quad HD Super AMOLED display with 2560 by 1440 resolution. It's top of the line even in 2019. The ability to turn off pixels that would otherwise be black lets Samsung do some really neat features that they're still implementing today. For example, if you take the S Pen out of the phone while it's turned off, you can jot down a note super quickly. When you put the S Pen back into the phone, it will save the note to S Note, the app where it keeps all of your handwritten notes. The pixels per inch, or PPI, is a whopping 515. This is higher than the Galaxy Note 10's 2880 by 1080 resolution. The bezels are very thin if you're into that sort of thing, but for me, I sometimes unintentionally press the sides of the screen. The color accuracy is great at 130% of sRGB for color gamut, but the Note 10 and 10 Plus can get up to 140% though. And the screen is very bright and is readable outdoors. Regarding the physical design and size, I've always been a firm believer that if you're going to get a bigger phone, you might as well get a Galaxy Note. The Note 5's 6-inch by 3-inch footprint causes this to be a two-handed device. It's approximately the same size as the Note 9 and 10. The phone's glass screen and metal frame feels much more premium than the previous versions of the Note. The 5.7-inch phone's metal sides are slippery, but not as bad as the iPhone's aluminum sides with rounded edges. I highly recommend a case to increase texture and grip to prevent damage. The 3000 mAh battery is okay, and it's not easily replaceable. That said, there exists some YouTube videos showing how to replace the battery. They make it look super easy, don't they? Taking a hairdryer and melting the glue is a little risky to me, but it may be worth it for some people. But as I said before, if you buy a refurbished phone, please test the battery life and make sure the battery isn't at its end of life. If your battery is good, it will last you throughout the day and leave you with 10% remaining during moderate to high levels of usage though. For those who are a little more conservative with their battery usage, there exists 2 power saving modes, power saving mode and ultra power saving mode. Power saving mode reduces the CPU performance and screen brightness. It also turns off location, services, and most background data. Ultra power saving mode switches your phone to grayscale and turns off all non-essential applications including Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Now let's talk about what makes the Note unique, the S Pen. With direct text input, you can handwrite text and the phone will automatically convert the handwritten words to digital text. Removing the S Pen from the phone with the screen off, like I said before, lets you quickly jot down a note. Once you put the S Pen back into the slot, the note automatically gets saved. Hovering is another nice feature that does different things depending on the application. For example, you can preview photos and preview calendar entries. Air Command is really neat and allows quick access to multiple features. For example, Smart Select lets you screen capture only a section of the screen. Screen Write captures the entire screen and lets you draw and write on it. Scroll Capture lets you capture larger web pages. Action Memo is like sticky notes on your phone. You can pin the notes to tasks and reminders. S Note shows you your notes and lets you add more. Also, Samsung changed S Note to Samsung Notes starting on the Note 7. It provides a few more features like typing the notes. The good news is that you can download Samsung Notes to the Note 5 and add it to Air Command by pressing the plus symbol. Some apps that you can download that work really well with the S Pen are MyScript Calculator 2 and OneNote. MyScript Calculator 2 lets you handwrite equations into the app and it will automatically solve them for you. OneNote is like Samsung Notes but allows you quick synchronization amongst all of your devices, including Android, iOS, Mac, Windows, and Chromebooks. The syncing is so fast that you can type the notes in OneNote on your laptop and then handwrite some more notes on your phone and then quickly continue typing on your laptop. Very nice. So are there any flaws with the S Pen? Sadly, yes. The initial batch of phones had an issue with the S Pen slot. If users forced the pen into the slot backwards, it would damage the slot. In January 2016, Samsung updated the design to prevent this from happening. Regardless, don't stick your S Pen into your Note upside down. Additionally, the S Pen that came with my phone was broken. Not completely, but it did require me to press more firmly than it should have to activate any kind of response on the phone. The replacement S Pen I ordered from Amazon works like a charm though. Regarding the ports, the Note 5 includes a micro USB port for fast charging and a headphone jack. It's good to know that you can plug in regular headphones and don't have to use a special USB-C to headphone adapter like you do on the Galaxy Note 10 and 10 Plus. It seems like every phone company is also coming out with their own Bluetooth headphones too. For this phone, you do not have to spend another $130 for the Galaxy Buds, which is Samsung's knockoff AirPods. The Note 5 also doesn't include a microSD card slot for expandable storage, so if you need more than 32GB to 64GB of storage, you might need to spend more and get the Note 10 or 10 Plus. Both of them start with 256GB, and the 10 Plus even has a microSD card slot with support for SD cards up to 1TB. Now let's talk about the phone's performance in 2019. To sum up, it's decent. Its Slingshot Extreme 3D Mark score of 1030 and its Geekbench single-core score of 1284 and multi-core score of 4207 pale in comparison to the Galaxy Note 10's Slingshot Extreme 3D Mark score of 6135 and Geekbench benchmark single-core score of 3512 and multi-core score of 11,028. That said, this phone scores better than 36% of all other devices and runs its software perfectly fine with no lag and no stuttering. Long story short, this phone still feels zippy regardless of its scores. The Note 5 also supports Samsung Pay if you're into making payments from your phone instead of using cash or credit card. Samsung Pay uses NFC and magnetic secure transmission, which means you can use it on older and more terminals than Google Pay and Apple Pay. The camera can also shoot 4K at 30 frames per second and 1080p at 60 frames per second. It does slow motion video recording at 720p and 120 frames per second. It has optical image stabilization and video stabilization. The lens itself moves to compensate for an unsteady hand. Its autofocus technology is very quick. The front-facing camera is only 5 megapixels and can shoot video up to 1440p. Regarding the operating system, the Note 5 shipped with Android 5.1 Lollipop. It was upgraded to Android 7.0 Nougat, but regrettably, Samsung only provides OS updates for their phones for 2 years versus the 4 years from Apple. Samsung does provide security updates for 3 years though. The downside is that the Note 5 received its last security patch in July of 2018. Samsung may patch a critical flaw in the Note 5 if absolutely necessary, but this is unlikely. For example though, Samsung updated the Galaxy 6S last January and that phone was 4 years old. Users will have to take the phones into their own hands and update the OSs themselves with custom bootloaders and firmwares if they really want the latest OS and security patches. That said, custom ROMs aren't officially supported and may be difficult for the average phone user to install. Additionally, Samsung is making it increasingly difficult to do this. Check out xdadevelopers.com for more information about the Note 5 and custom ROMs. If you want a phone that will receive security and OS updates longer and faster directly from the manufacturer, buy an iPhone or Pixel sold by Apple and Google respectively. So in conclusion, if you want a decent and affordable phone for 2019 that has good storage, a beautiful display, a great camera, enough performance for the everyman, a headphone jack, wireless charging, and the ability to take advantage of Samsung's S Pen features, then the Galaxy Note 5 is for you. Just remember, it lacks expandable storage and replaceable batteries, it isn't nearly as powerful as the Galaxy Note 10 and 10 Plus, and Samsung has stopped supporting this phone with Android OS updates and security patches. Anyways, keep a lookout for the usual videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.